C2 Wrestling podcast is back, and it is a special one because it is MLB opening day and it has nothing to do with wrestling, but both of us big baseball fans. That means it is a marquee day with a ton of news. None of the news will be as big, none of the news will be as important as the answer to the opening question, and that is Snowden. How you doing today, buddy?
How are we doing today? We're doing. We're up. We're awake. We put down a couple of yogurts before getting on the pod today. We're here. Baseball start and MLB opening day. Couldn't be more excited. Actually, I can be. I'm a little bit more excited for C2 Wrestling and the future of this channel, man. It's been a lot of fun so far. This is podcast number 950 for all I know at this point, but we're going to keep it going. I'm going to turn the question back to you. How are you doing today?
I can't complain. I've had a long morning of doing nothing. Uh, gonna do the pod, get a workout in, go to work, go to work, go to work, go to work. SpongeBob would say. I am very curious. What kind of yogurt were we rocking with this morning?
Honestly, don't even know. Didn't look. Grabbed them out of the fridge. Strawberry, sure. I don't know. They could have been
Dude,
chocolate for all I
dude,
have no fucking idea. Yeah. No idea. Didn't even taste them. Put them down that quick.
don't know was it Oikos maybe?
No. These ones were like for your gut health or something. I don't know. They were like probiotic yogurts or something. I don't know. We're trying to get a little bit healthier here. I'm definitely gonna go get a cheesesteak after the pod, but the yogurts balance that cheesesteak out, so it's okay.
You know, anytime we talk food on this podcast specifically, like, look, we obviously mainly talk wrestling here, but we have our
Yeah,
our moments of talking about baseball, football, whatever. Anytime we talk food, my mind just immediately goes into like the WWE Thanksgiving episodes and stuff like that, of like the food fights,
yeah.
whatever. And like, I just then think of like, I asked you about the yogurt, then it just clicks in my head. Like, could you imagine having that yogurt then like thrown in your face in a segment for a show? Like, I'd be
Yeah.
pissed having a shower after that. That fucking sucks.
Yeah. Man, makes me think of Roman being covered in that fucking dog food.
God
Oh,
Almighty.
man. And everybody hating that segment. It is funny, though, because we do go on tangents a little bit and talk about some random stuff. But this being a wrestling pod, I feel like my mind always correlates whatever we're talking about with wrestling. We talk about football. I think about, all these guys that were in the NFL but are in WWE. Talking about food and wrestling, I think about experiences we had involving food and wrestling. We've dropped a couple times how good those Lincoln Financial cheesesteaks were at WrestleMania 40, but I often think back to our WrestleMania 33 trip when we sent ourselves to the safest McDonald's in all the land. We got some stories. Maybe those are for another pod, but man, there's something always to correlate back to wrestling.
And we'll correlate it back to wrestling right now. WrestleMania 41, which we will be live for right here on C2 Wrestling. We have a weekend together of all the boys, me, you, Ryan, Kevin, Alec, the honorary USA C2 Wrestling. We're probably going to pig out that weekend. And, I'm more of a healthy eater, I would say. I'm not the world's cleanest eater, but I definitely eat on the healthier side. In my head, like yesterday, I did not eat that clean. And I was like, I need to be on my A game to eat as clean as possible because come Mania weekend, I'm going to be.
Yeah. Mania weekend. We might have to get on the Simon Dean regime before Mania weekend because I'm going to be putting on the pounds. We'll just say that.
Yeah, I'm going to need the Simon system big time. I mean, I'm going to be bloated from the pizza that I'm going to eat because I don't get good pizza down here. It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
But I also feel for listeners, Mania weekend, I know you'll agree, like, that is the cheat weekend, no matter what diet you're on, no matter what routine you're on, what workout program you're on, whatever. Like, that is the weekend. Calories don't count, exercise doesn't matter. Like, it is the one weekend out of the 52 that you have. You just got to, put the scale in the drawer, don't look at it, deal with the consequences on Tuesday because you still have Monday Night Raw on Monday. You got to enjoy yourself, the pizza, the wings, whatever for one night. And then another night, you got to switch it up, go with something different. It's the ultimate escape weekend.
Yeah, it's not even a thought. WrestleMania, pigging out. It doesn't matter the diet. It doesn't matter the workout regime. All that is an afterthought. WrestleMania, if I get offered a salad, you're getting pile drived right then and there. It is WrestleMania. It is wings, pizza, soda, whatever. Who knows? Pigging out all weekend. That's the point. That's the point. They often say this is our Super Bowl. But I think the Super Bowl is the NFL's WrestleMania, is the way I look at it. WrestleMania is the weekend. It used to be the day, but now it's the weekend, the week really of wrestling where there's no laws, there's no rules. I'm going
The
to town.
the only way I'm accepting a salad is if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, it's Thursday night. Salad expands your stomach. So eat this nice big salad right now. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and a little bit of Monday, you've got a little extra room in that stomach for another slice of pizza, two or three more wings, another handful of French fries, 300 McDonald's nuggets, whatever it may be. That's the only way I'm saying, all right, I'll take that salad.
Yeah, I am looking forward to WrestleMania, looking forward to hanging out with the boys, looking forward to what's on the menu all weekend. I cannot wait.
What we have on the menu of a match card, we know matches that are made for WrestleMania 41. We know matches that are being built up for WrestleMania 41. We're in that, I don't want to say awkward phase, but when you kind of break Mania 41 or WrestleMania build, let's say you have, I don't know how many weeks it is between the Rumble and Mania, but I'll just say 10 as a random number.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you have 10 weeks. The first 2 or so weeks after the Rumble are your here's your Rumble winners. They're thinking about who their opponents are. And also, here's the competitors trying to get into the chamber. Then the next 2 or so weeks, it's chamber stuff. You get your chamber matches, whatever. At the chamber and at the Rumble, you have your little seeds, your little crumbles sprinkled in of, oh, well, this guy eliminated this guy. This person screwed this person in the chamber. This woman attacked this woman. So then you get to that next batch, those final 6 weeks. We're in like the next part of those final 6 weeks where you have some of the matches. Some of them are becoming clear. The last like 2 weeks, pretty much everything's set in stone. It's, everything's either at the 1 yard line or confirmed. We're in that little part, that little 3 week stretch right before the final 2 weeks where you pretty much know everything. That little 3 week stretch where you know most, some things are starting to become clear. And then there's some like the men's US title where it's like, all right, they could still go this way, they could still go this way. Raw is really clearing up those things now. The Intercontinental title, the AJ Styles Logan Paul feud, pretty clear now. Completely separate. Leaning more towards a four-way of the IC title, leaning more towards just Styles versus Logan. We had talked about this could be the potential six-man ladder match, whatever. I want to know your thoughts. Just those four. It's a great story. It makes sense. Do you think there should have been more? Should there have been a Sheamus in the mix, a Ludwig in the mix, or is it just we've already got so many multi-person matches that just a fatal four-way at least keeps it close to being a little bit slimmer?
I don't hate the Fatal Four Way at all. Penta, Braun, Finn, Dom. I think that is still great. The name that really sticks out to me, man, we've been talking about it. Our boy Ludwig needs to be on that Mania card. That is the one to me that is like, how do you not kind of get him on, get him in the mix? And maybe they still do in the next coming weeks. They're not going to do a five, man. If they're going to do five, they might as well do six, and then you got to start to think, who do you add? Do you add Sheamus? Do you maybe add neither of those guys and you add Logan and Styles to it? I do think Logan and Styles is better off as a singles match, so I'm okay with that. Under the one condition that AJ Styles wins the match, of course. But on the flip side, if Logan Paul wins, fuck, you might as well just put them in the multi-man match because Logan Paul's not really winning the IC title. I don't think that's quite happening. But if you're gonna add Sheamus, you're gonna add Ludwig. We're only a couple weeks out. It's not some mega feud that's gonna get added. It'd be kind of minor. Ludwig's had his tension with Penta and things like that. There's definitely a storyline to it, but I'm still not opposed to the Fatal Four Way. I absolutely can see Penta winning the IC title. He is so hot right now that why not give a big Mania moment and put the title on Penta? I'm still on the world of wanting Dom to win that belt, though, man. I think there's a great storyline there with Dom winning. I think it's time for Braun to maybe move on. Maybe he can go another route without the championship. If you're going to add Styles, Logan, Ludwig, Sheamus, it is just kind of adding these people to fill the card. Not even to fill the card, just to give them the Mania time, the 5-10 minutes they'll get. It's not super necessary, in my opinion.
I think we're gonna get that Dom win. And
Yeah, me too. I really do.
I think also Penta will be the one to take the title off of Dom. I don't think it's going to be a long title run. I think this could be the classic WWE. Dom wins it, maybe by pinning Finn, or maybe Finn has someone beat and Dom throws him out and steals the pin, whatever it may be. And then Finn ends up costing Dom his title, and it's the eye for an eye, whatever. And who knows, maybe that official split happens right then and there, or maybe they continue to lead to it. And when Finn costs him, that's the full blown split. We also still have the aspect of there's supposedly going to be a new member. We would assume Karrion Kross, can't bank on it, whatever. That story still has to play out. I can't imagine that story doesn't play out with Dom not getting something over Finn. It maybe it is just Dom costs Finn winning and Penta still does win. But something's going to happen where the tension reaches a breaking point and the Judgment Day brings in a new person and that person boots out Finn. Not to stray too far away from that specific match, but I am starting to feel that a lot of these kind of, I don't want to call them stragglers because that's almost offensive, but a lot of these people were not sure on where they're going. It may just be these people aren't on the card. Maybe they have an appearance. Maybe they're shooing for the Battle Royal. But I think of like JD McDonough should be back anytime now. I don't think JD McDonough is going to be added to any match. I think he could be added to this story with the Intercontinental title. A Ludwig, a Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate is cleared. I think those guys kind of slide more into the Andre Battle Royal now that it seems this Intercontinental title, the story is the Judgment Day have issues. Now they both want the Intercontinental title, it seems. At the very least, just Finn does. And Penta wants the Intercontinental title, and Braun is the defending champion who's had issues with the Judgment Day for weeks. So I like it. In fairness, they could have very easily made this a 6-person, but we're in the boat of less is more. And I don't want people added just for the sake of them being added, unless it's Ludwig because he deserves it. So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the direction. I'm fine with the matchup. But hell, man, there's still what, 4 weeks roughly?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot can change in that time.
A lot can change in that time. 4 weeks is plenty of time to add another participant or two to the match. A matter of weeks ago when we started predicting this IC title multi-man match, we've run with the idea that the multi-man's a ladder match. That just seems typical of WWE to do. And I remember saying, I really can see a world where Dom is about to help Finn win. Finn and Dom both look up and see the title, and Dom helps Finn climb the ladder and then climbs up with him, but pushes him off and takes the championship. I can then see a world where Finn isn't really helping Penta, but is more sabotaging Dom, ends up with Penta winning the championship over Dom down the line, something along those lines. Regardless, I think we're about to see this IC title play hot potato a little bit over maybe the next 6 months or so, which is fine with me. We've had some great runs in the last couple of years with that belt. The Gunther run obviously stands tall. Sammy maybe didn't get the craziest run out of it, but putting the title right onto Braun Breaker has been fantastic in my opinion. It's time to move it on and get it a little bit more involved in some deeper storylines. Braun has been a great champion, but he hasn't really had like a full-blown blood feud over this IC title. if you're going to get Dom and Finn in the mix, they can kind of feud over the title, but it doesn't really have to end with the title changing hands between one of them. Finn can screw Dom, and then Finn and Dom have a match at Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, wherever it falls in line. Penta's now your IC champion. Who quite knows? I do like it being a fatal four way. Out of the card that we have so far and the predicted card to come, from an in ring level, Braun, Penta, Finn, Dom, that could be match of the week.
It really could. I'm very interested your answer on this though. One name that was kind of floated in the Intercontinental title discussion, but we said it really wouldn't have made sense. And now it's that awkward period. Sami Zayn. So people mentioned that he might end up in the Intercontinental title multi-man match, and we'd said it's a possibility, and not that we hated it, but it would have, they could have made it make sense, but to me, with his match with Kevin Owens, not the greatest thing. A lot of people were shitting on Zayn versus Cross. You and I love Cross, love Zayn. I was all for that match. Would I have thought it would be the most hyped match ever? No, but I know that matchup would actually be good and that story has legs. Now I'm at this point where I'm curious your answer and I'm curious other people's answers. You got a checklist of 3 options. Sami Zayn being in the Intercontinental multi-person match and maybe having zero to do in the finish, zero to do with the story. Sami Zayn taking on Karrion Kross in a one-on-one match, or no Sami Zayn at all.
You know, maybe it's a little bit fantasy booking, but I do think there's a fourth option there. And I think we have discussed this a little bit. Does Sammy get involved in the Owens Orton matchup? It seems impossible for them to keep Sammy off the WrestleMania card unless there's some undisclosed injury or whatever that is preventing him from being involved.
Which I think he said isn't true.
Isn't true. Yes. I'm under the impression it's Ramadan. He's doing that. There was some time off maybe needed or wanted for it. I don't quite know the details, but there's certain names that might not make the cut for Mania. There are certain names that make the cut for Mania. And Sami Zayn falls in line with that, especially over his Mania performances from 38, 39, 40, so on. He's around, he's involved, and he should be. But how do you get him involved? Throwing him in the IC title does nothing for me. That is worthless in my opinion. He's one of the greatest acts going, but I'd rather him not be on the card than just be thrown into that IC title mix, especially at this point. You could add Karrion to the mix, oh sure, but then again, you're kind of just adding this feud to another feud to shorten the card, essentially. I'd much rather Karrion and Sammy just face off in a singles match. I don't hate that, Karrion versus Sammy in a singles match. I still don't know if it has this WrestleMania draw to it that some other potential matchups could. I'm not saying I'm going to lock in on Sammy turning heel, helping Orton, helping Owens, whichever route he goes. But I absolutely can see a world where Sammy comes out during that match and distracts Owens, helps Orton get the punt off, or seems like he's going to distract Owens, but actually Helluva kicks Orton, helps Owens win. Maybe they're not aligned, but they're just seeing the same point of view. I don't quite know. If I were a betting man, though, I'd have to imagine Sami Zayn is somehow involved with WrestleMania. It almost doesn't make sense for him not to be.
You ready for my ultimate fantasy booking? Putting my extreme fantasy booking cap on.
Let's hear it.
Sami Zayn does not get involved in WrestleMania.
Okay.
Sami Zayn is off the card. Sami Zayn does not show up. Sami Zayn does return, though, and does turn heel. But Sami Zayn attacks the new World Heavyweight Champion, Jey Uso.
Okay, it's definitely not impossible. You got to set Jey up with something post WrestleMania, and where do you send Jey after Gunther? Maybe a rematch with Gunther, but they've already faced a few times, so it might not necessarily be the world title match that grants an immediate rematch. Who does Jey face? He needs an ultimate heel. I can absolutely see Jay for a few weeks after WrestleMania feuding with Theory still and Waller and whoever else,
Treading water.
But yeah, treading water. Who's the first PLE feud for Jay? It might be Sami Zayn. Off the top of my head, I don't know if there's another like big enough named heel at this moment in time to really be the one to kind of help Jay get over a little bit more throughout that run. The only downside to it would kind of be, you turn Sammy heel, he goes right into this world title feud with Jay to lose. I don't think he's going to take the belt off Jay that quick. I mean, you never say never in the world of wrestling, but I just don't know if that would be their end game in that decision. I do think they're going to try and run Jay with this title for a little bit because he's so over. And I'm going to hit a point here. If you're still shitting on Jay, stop fucking watching, dude. You don't get it. You do not get it. If you're still out there complaining about Jey Uso winning the Rumble, complaining about the matchup, listen, we're on record saying the Jay Gunther build has not been stellar. Okay. There's a couple things they could have done differently. Yeah, sure. I get it. I've seen people go back. Oh my God, last year on this day, we had Cody Rhodes and The Rock that segment outside. How come we're not getting something as good? You're comparing this to one of the best segments of all time, one of the best builds of all time. I'm going to choke here, so I'm going to hand this off to you.
I'll take care of it. I cannot stand Jay slander. These are the same people that would tweet out the meme of like best supporting actor
Yeah.
award, Jey Uso. Like the complete 180 people have done on Jay as if like they didn't fucking love him not too long ago. And to me, this is purely a vocal minority. And then you have these
Yes.
fucking morons who are like, "Oh my God, he slipped in the ring. Like he truly can't wrestle." It's like, I'm sorry, but if you think he genuinely slipped, like you were born last night, like
Yeah.
at night, and it was last night because it very clearly is into the story. And now all these people, oh my God, now they're like, "Oh, that promo with Jimmy. Oh, this is so great. Oh, they're feeding into this. Oh my God, it's so good." Well, yeah, maybe stop being so fucking fickle and give a little hope and like they listen. All right, let's run with this. They're clearly being loud about this vocal minority. Let's run with it. Let's feed into it. They know what they're doing. Jay is fucking good, and people who don't think he's good, you're lying to yourself because you definitely used to think he was good. If you
Yeah.
try to say that you never liked Jay, get the fuck out of here.
It's insane too because there's again, fickle's the word. A lot of these fans are fickle, and all this Jay slander. He pairs up with Jimmy this week. They have a great match with Waller and Theory, and I'm seeing it all online. Oh my God, bring the Usos back. They're so good. This, that, whatever. I feel like people often look back to the Jimmy J match at WrestleMania 40, which was not good. We are all at an understanding that was not a good match. Okay, Jay's, 99 for 100. You know what I mean? Like, he's put on some of the best tag matches, some of the best matches in recent memory. He's as over as could be with the fans. Oh, he's using a 2014 catchphrase. Guys, it's pro wrestling. There's catchphrases. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's that simple. It sells merch, it sells tickets. When you got kids being interviewed on the street and they're saying their favorite is Jey Uso and they love to eat and this or that, guys, the what chant got over for a reason. That's like the hottest line of all time is what from Stone Cold. It's these little one-liners. Yes, Daniel Bryan, yeet. These things get over big time and they sell, they move tickets. I'm so over the Jay slander. It's actually frustrating to a point. A lot of these fans, again, they're fickle. You see it, you laugh, you move on. But oh my God, we are not watching the same product. Jay slipped jumping over the rope. All right, go watch the other shit where they're blading on TV. They're blading off back body drops. Then I don't know what to tell you. There's botches in wrestling. It's a part of the sport. It's a part of what's going to happen. They're turning it into something too with a storyline. They know what they're doing, as you said. They've known what they're doing. C2 Wrestling knows what they're doing. We fucking called this, man. Jey Uso winning that Rumble was on this YouTube channel before it was in that fucking creative room. And I'll mark my words on that.
Jay, I would love a Jay Sammy feud. Like that's why I said it's the ultimate fantasy booking cap on. Like to me, right now, like Jay wins the title, like what matchups kind of make the most sense and are like would help Jay, you know, be that huge babyface champion. I immediately think of Sammy turning heel because, that is like that is stabbing Jay in a special spot. You're not going to run back Jay Jimmy like that.
No.
That's not happening. And then it's like the next possibility is him running it back against Roman, where he's the champion and Roman's the challenger, which I don't think they're going to do anytime soon because I don't think people are that interested into it. And also, Roman, you have plenty of stories with him and Punk and Rollins that it's like you're not going to just completely abandon ship on those. So I love the fantasy book of a Jay versus Sammy feud where once again, Karrion Kross planted the seeds in someone and they ended up, seeing the light and turning heel. But bringing up Jay slipping and Jay not making it over the top rope and that being turned into a story, which great, what they absolutely should do. It makes me immediately think of AJ Styles. I want to say it was Ring of Honor or it was some like weekend independent show, weekend independent shows, I should say. And he botched. I shouldn't even say that, but he slipped going to do the flying forearm or springboard 450, one of the two, one of
Yeah.
the springboards. He slipped. They then turned it into a story for that entire weekend because it was pretty much the same fans going to the same shows. And so, like at one point, he doesn't hit it. He's in 6-man tags with like the Bucks at the time. He's in the Bullet Club. At one point, he doesn't even do it because he's too afraid that he's going to mess it up. At another point, like he does it and it isn't great, whatever. Then he like finally does it and the crowd goes crazy because they built towards it. They took a little slip up and made it a little in-match story for the entire weekend. The fans loved it. It made perfect sense. And it was great. It was playing off of something that actually happened. That's what WWE is doing right now with Jay, what they absolutely should do. And people who are now like, oh my God, this is great. It's like, well, yeah, maybe you shouldn't fucking go crazy about one move. A guy goes to do a dive over the top rope and doesn't fully make it. Like, we're acting like Jay, messed up a suplex 3 times in a row, and you're like, this guy can't wrestle. Jey Uso's a fucking great wrestler. Like,
Yeah.
guy messes up one dive over the top rope, and people are trying to say he's not a good wrestler. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's actually insane, and it is a vocal minority, but it takes this guy who's in a stellar position in his life in the company. He is one of the top guys right now, despite the vocal minority complaining. Here's my thing, okay? If you are complaining about Jay, you are the target audience for professional wrestling. You are the fan that they need to watch professional wrestling. It might as well be 1970, 1980, 1990, where Yokozuna would hit a bonsai drop and the fans would actually think he fucking killed somebody. You are fickle. You are the fan that is so bought in to the storylines, whether you are willing to admit it or not. You are the fan that doesn't get it. And that's what wrestling needs. In this new age of wrestling with dirt sheets and the internet and everything, it's so easy to find out what's going to happen before it happens and things like that. But to have people out there actually complaining about what's going on, it really brings me back to those times. You go back, you watch those 1980s, 1990s matches and whatnot, and the fans can't believe what's happening. They hated the heels. They loved the baby faces. And you are, again, just the target audience in that. Jay messed up one move, and people are acting like he's fucking Bill Goldberg. It's the craziest thing, in my opinion. It's also, too, did he botch this dive? Sure. It wasn't even that bad.
No.
Like, there's been so many worse fuck ups, mess ups, whatever you want to call it. Shit happens. There's also a flip side of it where so and so's other favorite wrestler can fuck something up, and we're not even going to mention it. It's just the timing of where Jay is. The match is about to go into. I don't even know what else there is to say about it. We are on the right side of history with Jey Uso. We are on the right side of history with this conversation. The fans are fickle. I'm going to leave it at that.
I know our blood pressure's rising, but I think we could get it a little bit higher. I think we could get a little bit more mad.
How's that?
You want to get a little bit more mad?
All right, let's get a little bit more mad.
This Chad Gable Grande Americano stuff.
I want to get a little bit more mad, not fucking pissed off. All right. Now, Grande Americano, Chad Gable, brilliant stuff by the creative team, by the people running the production, making these vignettes that people are calling AI slop. An incredible job by Chad Gable and by Grande Americano. Clearly, two different superstars entirely. I mean, people are giving all this credit to Chad Gable, which he's incredible. He's great, but he's not even involved. It's Grande Americano. So I don't really understand why Chad Gable's getting all this credit. Grande Americano, though, come on, guys. Listen, I don't understand how the top wrestling company in the world forever. People call this company the not top company. It's the top company. You guys are clueless. It's the best wrestling company of all time. It's always going to be. If it doesn't align with somebody's narrative of what wrestling should be, it's automatically slop. It's bullshit. This is awful. They're racist. This is that or whatever. Guys, it's professional wrestling. You, again, are the target audience. If you see this luchador heel gimmick from an American guy named Grande Americano, if you see that and are going, oh my God, how could they? This is awful of them. You would not have survived one episode of Raw in 1998. There's no way. There's no fucking way. I could rant. We can do 12 podcasts on this. I'll rant the entire time.
What blows my mind is Chad Gable was sick. He had a doctor's note. Like, we literally saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear as day. It's clear as day.
I don't get what these people are talking about. On the AI slap, whatever, like, oh, you're telling me they made a fake video for someone who's not a real wrestler and doesn't have the real history? I thought that they were going to get that from fucking the Discovery Channel and all that footage would have to be credited to them. Like, yeah, you don't fucking say. It's not real. It wasn't this person was not there. Oh, it's AI slop. It's going to be fake no matter what. Like it didn't happen, but it did happen because Chad Gable was sick and he went to Mexico and he found some people and now we have Grande Americano. Now, I sent you the clip. The I think it was Brian Alvarez mentioned that one of their fans who likes this story because at least that person has a brain because this is an awesome story.
Yeah.
Said this is going to lead up to a mask versus mask, Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio, mask versus mask. I fucking love this.
Love it.
If that's what happens, I love it. But what I absolutely fucking need, let's put on our time machine gloves and hat and jump on in and time travel. If we remember when WWE was doing the Elias Ezekiel story and they did the lie detector test, who was the one asking the questions for the lie detector test?
Who was it?
It was Chad Gable.
Oh my God. Was it really? Oh my God. I don't even remember that, but that's a funny reference, honestly.
I'm pretty sure it was. And
Uh,
it would be great if we had another segment where the shoe is on the other foot and whoever this guy is, maybe he had an American made $20 bill slipped into his pocket beforehand. Maybe, just saying maybe. And every question Chad Gable's being asked about, he's telling the truth. That he's not the same person. That's not him under the mask. He was sick. He did have that doctor's note. And it really feeds into the Mania match. And then Scooby-Doo style, Chad Gable loses to Rey Mysterio. The LWO goozles American made out of there. And just like the old cartoons, the mask comes off and oh my God, it was Chad Gable this entire time.
Chad Gable running out of Las Vegas, cover in the face, can't let the fans see him without the mask on. I absolutely love the mask versus mask idea. I think that outweighs any sort of tag match, 6-man tag between the Creeds and Gable versus LWO, all that. Ray versus Gable, mask versus mask. As much as, or I should say, Ray versus Grande Americano, mask versus mask.
Correct. Thank you for correcting yourself.
You have to correct myself there. As much as I would love to see Grande Americano get a win at WrestleMania, the storyline is not going to be Rey Mysterio losing his mask, you know? So
Yeah.
I think there's a clear route here. But this is incredible, incredible stuff. And I do have to give WWE a lot of credit because in making this AI slop and this gimmick and everything, they realize how fickle the fans are nowadays and that there's going to be a vocal minority of scrutiny towards whatever route they go. So I love that they really went for it too. Not only is this a fake luchador that isn't really a luchador, let's go harder and make the fans really hate him. He's from the Gulf of America, okay?
Yep.
Let's go hard on it and let's really make people buy in that this guy fucking sucks. And I absolutely love it. I feel like WWE over the years has been treading on water at times where, you know, there's sensitive topics in the world, things like that. They can't do what they once used to do in certain eras of wrestling. So when they kind of go above and beyond, it's great to see. And they really are. This is a like middle of the show feud. There's so many great things going on in the company right now. So many championships, so many blood feuds. And one of the best things going is fucking Chad Gable and Grande Americano. You know, it's only a few weeks before Mania. If you would have told us before the Rumble that Chad Gable is going to have a luchador gimmick going into WrestleMania, you would have been like, what? How does it even make sense? There's only 10 to 12 weeks before WrestleMania, but they're making it work. They're making it work.
You know, I'm glad you brought up the Gulf of America thing where people are like up in arms about it. They're like, that's not even a real place. Blah, blah. It's the Gulf. It's like, wait, I'm confused. When Shark Boy was in TNA, they said he was from the Deep Blue Sea. Is he not from the Deep Blue Sea? Is that not a real city? I'm confused.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't mean to cut you off, but we have to get this going. I have a trip to parts unknown after this podcast. So
Yeah.
like, come on, guys.
Like, good fucking Lord, man. Like, to me, there's plenty of things that like you cannot like something. To go back to, you know, one of the favorite sayings that I have now from CVV, wrestling's like a buffet. Not everything's for you. Jey Uso may not be for you, but he's for someone else. You know, there's going to be something that's for you. You know, whatever match it may be, you may not like, but the person next to you might like. This to me, like, you cannot care for it. You could be in the boat of like, I really love Chad Gable as like this authoritarian role, whatever, and like I wanted him to do that. That's completely fair. Like if you would have preferred that, sure. But to try to just be like, it's the worst thing ever, it's racist, it's terrible, they shouldn't fucking do this, this is an embarrassment, it's the worst thing wrestling's ever done. Like, calm the fuck down, okay?
Calm the fuck down. And like, listen, we're not going to get into the political side of things. Okay. I understand there's a whole political Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico thing, whatever. That's the fucking point, guys. If they never changed it to Gulf of America, he would have never hailed from the Gulf of Mexico. It just wouldn't have even been a thought. But because the timing works out where, hey, this is going on in the world, we can really make people fucking hate this guy. Let's make it from the Gulf of America. It's brilliant. It is top to bottom brilliant. Chad Gable has been fantastic. Grande Americano has been fantastic. Also, I think people need to consider they're calling it racist. Okay. There's a lot of Mexican influence. They're feuding with Mexicans. It's Rey Mysterio and fucking like I'm like, don't you think these guys would be like, no, we can't do this? Like, what? I can't fucking stand it sometimes. Wrestling fans are so fucking fickle, dude. We got 12 more podcasts to go with me ranting about this.
These are the same people that will quote tweet JBL stuff with Ray and Eddie and be like, this shit's great. It's like, if you fucking lived through that, you'd be bitching about it. It was the greatest shit then, and it's still great now because it's a fucking story. It's not real. They're playing characters. Like, chill. Like, fucking chill.
You know, there's just such like anti-establishment feel to certain wrestling fans out there towards whatever establishment. There's anti-WWE fans, there's anti-AEW fans, anti this, anti that. Everything is okay if it aligns with what somebody enjoys. If you like AEW and this storyline happened in AEW, it would be the greatest thing going. If you have a little bit of hate towards WWE because Booker T didn't win the world title at WrestleMania 19 or whatever the fuck it was, then you're gonna hate this too. Like, there's fickle fans. I can't say the word enough. We're gonna title this entire podcast just fickle. That's gonna be the title of the podcast.
I'm not going to do that because no one will click on it. But
Yeah.
now that my tongue is leather from bootlicking WWE, I'll get a little bit critical on them.
Yeah.
And we're on the topic of Raw because SmackDown hasn't happened yet. We already had the SmackDown post show, whatever. I also was a busy boy at work, so I didn't get to talk about most of these Raw things. So that's why they're a little bit more prevalent to me. I do want to talk a bit about Cody Cena because I mentioned the phases of stories in the lead up to WrestleMania. And this is a funky one. This is a Terry funky one. You have a couple weeks till Mania. They're promoting the Cena Cody face off again. It doesn't seem like Cena has many announced appearances leading up to Mania. I assume The Rock will be there soon, if not next week, because he's got to come back into the mix. I'm not saying it's bad, and I'm not saying I'm nervous. I'm more so very curious on how these next few weeks play out because this past week, it wasn't copy and paste, but it was pretty close to it on the previous week's promo. And a piece of me does just feel that Cena's heel turn was so big and there's so much to it. And they just they need to double, triple, quadruple down and hammer it home. Like, I'm John Cena, but I fucking hate you. I don't like you anymore. And I don't think just one promo of going at the fans is enough. And yes, is this like an old school style tactic of wrestling? For sure, where it's the wrestler who the fans hate and he wants the absolute worst for them, and the wrestler who's trying to save the fans from this person. Like, yes, it's very old school. It's been done before, but it makes perfect sense between these two. It feels like we have a lot of questions that still need to be answered. I also kind of circle it to, I know Cena's promo this week made it feel like we're going to get a Cody win. Thinking about it, since I've had some time to sleep on it, it almost makes me feel a little bit more that we have to get a Cena win just because there's so much that still needs to come from this that they need Cena to win to prolong all of this and kind of put bows on these statements and stories and whatever to then lead to that final comeuppance, that final victory where Cody becomes a two-time champion and saves the day.
Now, I've been on the boat since Cena turned heel that Cena's got to win here at WrestleMania 41. I still stand strong on that. I feel like there's more story to be told with Cena winning than there is with Cena losing. I think if you turn him heel for him to lose his first title match, what do you do next? I don't know. I do have a hot takes potentially. And it is in regards to John Cena turning heel. It's in regards to the build of this feud. It's in regards to what they're doing and what they're not doing. They're losing me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Now, that first John Cena promo, okay, comes a couple weeks after he turns heel. It's already a little later than it should be. You turned this guy heel, the biggest face of all time heel, and he's not kind of showing up. Now, you can play that into the heel gimmick. It's a very heel thing to do, but the wrestling fans are smarter today than they are in 1980s. We already kind of established that during this podcast. So the fans understand that he's a part-timer. He's got other things going on. Like, it's not that, he doesn't, it's a heel, he's not going to be on TV. It's just that he can't be on TV all the time. I think they could have went a different route with why John Cena is turning heel. I think part of the trouble is that they haven't involved The Rock back yet. They haven't even had John Cena mention The Rock. The Rock is a focal point of all this, but John Cena, they're acting as if John Cena attacked Cody Rhodes backstage or something. Like it almost is like non-existent that The Rock's involved. John Cena is coming out and he's yelling at the fans. This is because of you. You're fake. This, that, whatever. I think they should have went more the route of I'm doing it for me this time. And the lines are a little blurred. I can understand where somebody says, "Oh, he is kind of saying that right now." But I think they could have went the route of John Cena. I've been doing this for 20 plus years and I did this all for you guys. And I finally leave and I've been an afterthought. You guys still, for all these years since I've been gone, chant what for Stone Cold at everything you get. But there has been no mention of John Cena. I've been an afterthought when I gave you guys my life for 20 plus years. So I'm not doing it for you. I'm winning this 17th for me. I think that could have been a slightly better avenue than John Cena turning on the fans the way he has done. I don't know what it is. I can't quite pinpoint it yet. I still need to see more of John Cena. We haven't seen enough, but I'm not totally bought in to why he's turned heel. Something about it is not clicking for me. Now, I had said on our review 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, that I understand why John Cena came out and said he's not changing the music, he's not changing the attire, things like that. I get it. After thinking about it, after seeing that other week's promo this past Monday, I think they should have. I think you doubled down on him being a heel. I'm not doing this for you guys. I'm doing it for me. You guys don't get to hear my song anymore. You guys don't get to see the armbands and all these things. I don't throw them into the fans anymore. I think they should have went full heel. Change the attire. Change the music. Give us a new John Cena. It's hard to see him out in the ring cutting this super heel promo on the fans, but he's still wearing the high socks with the armbands, and he's got the super babyface John Cena t-shirt with this fucking dumbass door on the back of it. I hate the shirt so much, but I don't know, something about it I'm not totally bought into quite yet.
See, I'm on the flip side. I do like their reasoning and I do like them not changing anything. The part where I kind of lean to when his music hits, like it normally is a mixed reaction anyway before he turned heel. You've got some times where he was champion, his music would hit and the boos would roar. They hated him,
Mm-hmm.
but he was a face. I like it. And now they're booing when they hear it because they're supposed to. And it's still the same thing. I'm a fan of like I'm not changing anything about me for you because that's what you want. I'm all in on that. I am glad, as much as I do want the Rock Travis Scott thing to be addressed, and I believe it will. They'll make sense of it all. I am glad that they did finally hammer down like Cena's winning. He's going for number 17. Like the week before's promo didn't really talk about that. And I like the reference of I changed the title because I liked it and you guys made a mockery of it. And that's all you've done is ever make a mockery of me. I wouldn't hate. What if Cena won and he fucking brought back the spinner belt with the new logo
Yeah,
and
no,
it
he
was like
absolutely should.
repulsive?
He absolutely should. Yeah, I've been on the realm again. That is like the same thing as like changing the attire to me to another level. The belt, if Cena wins that belt, he absolutely should bring back the spinner with the new logo or fucking make a new spinner. Who knows, whatever. But absolutely, I think that also a little bit more plays into like where I kind of sit on the Cena heel turn that like I'm doing this for me. I like the spinner belt. Fuck you guys. I want to make a spinner belt. I'm sick of wearing the armbands. I never cared for it. I just did it for you guys, and you guys didn't appreciate it in the long run. So fuck you. I'm wearing pants and a t-shirt now. I don't know. Whatever. They could have gone different routes. The John Cena heel turn opportunities are endless. It's like Doctor Strange in Marvel when he's fucking thinking of a million things. Like there's a million ways they could have went about John Cena turning heel. So, it's arbitrary in a way to think like, oh, this could be better. They could have done this and it's better because we get what we get. It's kind of arbitrary to think about it in any other sense. But I need the Rock mention. I need more out of it. I don't know. Again, it took 2 weeks 4 weeks really to mention the 17th championship, but they still just kind of mentioned it, and it's almost like an afterthought in the entirety of the feud. I can't see a world where John Cena doesn't win the championship. But that promo did have me scared. It did have me a little like, man, they are setting up some sort of Cody win here. I just can't picture what's next if Cody were to win.
I think they, after giving it a second watch, putting more attention to it, I think they really set up for a Cena win. Cena brings back the spinner. Cena defends against Punk, defends against Orton, defend maybe even against Roman, whatever. He's gonna a lot of those, oh, we need one more Cena matchup of this person, like he's gonna get it and he's gonna be his champion as he does it. And we're gonna creep close to Cena's going to leave with the title.
Mm-hmm.
They planted it like I'm going to leave with the title. Now the way Cena worded it almost made it seem like he was saying, I'm gonna win the title and immediately leave. Which in that
Yes.
case, it's like, all right, well then Cody's gonna win, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But to me, I took it as December. I'm leaving, and I'm gonna take the title with me because I'm gonna have it, and I'm not gonna lose it because I am better than everybody. And that leads to whatever it is. I don't even know what show that would be in maybe, hell, maybe it is just a mega Raw on Netflix that's in
Mm-hmm.
Boston or something, or it's some special event, or it's a Saturday night's main event, whatever. Like it doesn't have to be a WrestleMania. Maybe that's where he does drop it, and then a week or two later is his final week, and he says his thank yous, whatever, and we accept this is it's over. The run was cool, whatever. His career was amazing. The GOAT. Now we go into a separate direction. So I'm like, I'm more into it and less into it at the same time. I'm more into it because I'm flip flopping on who I think is gonna win. Because if I have hindsight, it's all gonna make sense. But I don't. I got to be along for the ride. The Rock part is the big aspect where I think they could play into where you get towards the end and Cena does drop the title to Cody. And maybe at that point is for when The Rock brings in this next person who's more of the long term face of the company to battle Cody, whether it's, I don't know, Braun Breaker, whoever, just a younger guy where they can kind of keep running with this authoritarian rivalry of The Rock and Cody Rhodes. And now you're just past the John Cena part. And as soon as Cody thinks life is about to get easier, it just gets 10 times harder.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I read the promo as John Cena is going to win the title right out the year, leave in December for the WWE Championship. Now, the writing writes itself at this point. CM Punk, 2011, is going to leave with the championship. This time, John Cena is going to leave with the championship. So who else but to face him and try to stop him but CM Punk? Or Randy Orton or Roman, the guys that Cena has feuded with in the past. They're going to absolutely deliver on the Cena run, this retirement tour. He hasn't been around a whole lot yet, and we're 4 months into the year almost. So they are running out of time a little bit. They got a bit to squeeze in a short period of time, but I do have faith that they will. It's all to set up big bad John Cena heel. He wins the championship. He beats Randy Orton. He beats CM Punk. He beats Roman Reigns. Who's going to stop John Cena? Who's going to save WWE and save the WWE championship? Bring it back to the company. It's Cody Rhodes. They're building up Cody Rhodes again. Cody Rhodes, that WrestleMania 40 win, it's the biggest moment in WWE history. It's the biggest moment in wrestling history. How do you recreate that? It's very challenging. That is super hard to recreate to that level because of the time that went into the Roman feud, the Roman build, his title run, everything. There's not an easy path to do that, especially in a shorter period of time. Their only avenue to really do that is putting the title on John Cena, turning John Cena heel, having him build up this crazy heel run as champion. People in April are hating John Cena right now. If they keep doubling down on this, people in December are going to really be hating John Cena and really want that big babyface victory again, which ultimately it's got to be Cody Rhodes.
Now, glass half full. As much as we want Cena, and as much as we're like, damn, he turns heel, we don't see him for 2 more weeks. He is on for 2 weeks, and now, who knows how many he has before Mania itself. It doesn't sound like he's got a ton of dates. Glass half full, before it came, before the year started, there were reports that Cena had about 30 something dates signed. He hasn't had a ton, and we're about to be into the fourth month of the year. So Glass Half Full says Cena's going to win the title and he's going to be around a bunch for this final stretch because they kind of pushed through those first 3 to 3.5 months with not using him as much and still getting their stories in place to where they can go these final 8.5 to 9 months and have him on consistently and do all of these big matches and all of these big stories. And you're not kind of run thin like, all right, we want to do Cena versus Punk, but we've a lot of the dates have been used, whatever. It's 3 weeks you don't see Cena, and then he has the match similar to his Rumble and Elimination Chamber. It just shows up, then is back when the event actually happens. So a lot of those dates are saved. I don't know. We've seen him what? We saw him at Raw
Rumble.
Netflix debut,
Yes, yeah.
Rumble. After the Rumble, he announces he'll be at the Chamber. Don't see him until the Chamber,
We've
and
seen him
then
two
we
more times.
and then we've seen him 2 more times. So we've only seen him 5 times, and then this Monday will be his sixth time.
Hmm.
I don't remember the exact number, but we'll say it was like 30 and change. You're looking at he'll obviously be there for Mania.
Yeah.
You'd assume he's there for one, maybe two more shows before Mania. I mean, that's 8.5 months, and you have like 25 plus weeks of Cena. I don't know the math on that. Roughly eight times four is what?
Me too.
32.
Hmm.
So you're only looking at a handful of weeks where Cena wouldn't be on TV.
Yeah, I definitely expect Cena to be a bit more heavily involved, especially around like SummerSlam. I think Cena is going to be a big focal point. I also believe John Cena is still in the process of filming some Matchbox movie or something right now. So maybe once that filming is over, maybe John Cena for the next 8 months is full blown WWE. I don't have the John Cena itinerary on hand. I don't know if he's got another movie coming up necessarily,
Let me call him.
but oh yeah, that's true. We got his number. I might as well just give him a call real quick. But who knows? Yeah, I do expect him to be a little bit more heavily involved. I wish he already was, don't get me wrong, but it's also not the feud where like John Cena and Cody Rhodes need to brawl every week before WrestleMania. On the flip side, I do also think, and I said this, I believe, last week, John Cena kicked the shit out of Cody Rhodes. He didn't just turn on him. He busted him open, him with that title. Cody Rhodes should be kind of want to come out there and, stomp a mud hole in John Cena. So it has been a little interesting to see Cody Rhodes just come out and be talking to him, promos back and forth. At a point, you would expect Cody Rhodes to want to kind of get that lick back. It might not happen till WrestleMania, and that's okay to a point, but I need John Cena. We got about 4 weeks. I kind of want him on Raw every week until WrestleMania. I feel like I need him to some degree, but how do you make it different? How do you separate the first 2 week promos, which are pretty similar? The second week, they just mentioned the 17th. Outside of that, it's kind of the same promo. So what do you do in the next 4 weeks to make it different? Again, you don't need Cody Rhodes throwing John Cena off a balcony or whatever else. So what do you do? Maybe they're in a little bit of a writer's block with that and they kind of can't figure out something good enough. So maybe it's just not worth doing. Maybe his schedule conflicts and he won't be on TV regardless. I don't quite know. But I do know he's got to win that fucking belt, man. He's got to win the belt.
I do think though there's 1 or 2 weeks that you can get away with Cena not being there as long as The Rock is there.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can get away because The Rock can cut a promo essentially for John and with Cody, where it's still enhancing the Cena Cody feud,
Mm-hmm.
and Cena is just not there. Like that's the only way you can get away with it. So say he's on this London show and then he's not on the last 3 or 4 Raws, whatever it is, then The Rock has to be, and that that final Raw where you'd expect him to be at, and the final SmackDown, and then WrestleMania. So as long as The Rock is there, you can still kind of get away with it. The worry would be is if neither of them are there. Then it's an issue.
Yeah, I can definitely see a world, and this is kind of how I would hope they would do it. Cody Rhodes comes out in 2 weeks, and John Cena's not here. This beloved John Cena all these years can't even show up before WrestleMania. Man, what are we going to talk about today, then, guys? John Cena's not here, and surprise, out comes The Rock. Cuts little promo, Cody Rhodes. That is really the only way to kind of hold it over without John Cena being on TV. I'm open to the surprises. I definitely think WWE is in this regime right now where they want to surprise people. Things are kept under wraps, debuts, returns, this, that, or whatever. I do think there's going to be a couple of weeks where John Cena's not slated for TV, but that music's going to hit and he's going to come out and show up. So I can't rule it out. I just think this build, even though it's such a special build because it's heel John Cena, it is a little similar to the Jay Gunther build, in my opinion, in the sense of they can't build it for 10 to 12 weeks without this guy being around. Like, I don't know, the Jay Gunther build, it's been the same attack each other every week, so it's getting a little dry where maybe Cena and Cody aren't attacking each other, but again, it's the same promo every week, So at what point do you got to do something different, spice it up? The answer is The Rock. The Rock is the only way to spice it up.
Well, thankfully, they're both announced for this Monday, 3 p.m. on the East Coast. And I think we'll get some more answers. I think, when we're doing that post show, we'll have more of an idea on not just where things are going, but the following week or the week after that on if he's going to be there, if The Rock's going to be there, whatever. All leading to WrestleMania 41, where we will be live right here on C2 Wrestling with the honorary Oos Alec hosting the FAP Reactions reunion live for both shows. So make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on because, boy, get ready to see a Cody crybaby. As much as I'm excited for Cena to win the title, I'm going to be bummed if they take both Gunther and Cody's titles off of them the same weekend. I might not survive.
I literally might not survive. At least we're going to be having a little bit of a mukbang during it all. Eat some good food during the show.
Good eats.
Cry. Good eats. Cry over Gunther and Cody losing, but some pizza will make us feel a little bit better. But it's going to be a hell of a weekend. You got to be here. You got to be tuned into C2 Wrestling. Turn those notifications on. Stay subscribed. See you guys soon.